Hello, I'm Femi OK and you're in the stream. India has a rape crisis, and today we've put together a group of 4 influential Indian men who have solutions. Our digital producer Malika Bilal is here looking out for your live feedback. Talk about engaged. Our community can't wait for this conversation to happen. And in our community, we have 1 or 2 high-profile names. Share.
We do. Well, we're asking how Indian men can be part of the solution. And we got a pretty detailed tip from a famed Bollywood and Hollywood director. I'm going to play his video comment here that he left for the stream. And his name is Shekhar Kapoor.
Rape is the only criminal act in which the victim is held responsible for the act. It is really essential for us to change that perception. It's really essential for us to treat it less as a sexual act, but more as a violent act of humiliation, perpetuated by the criminals who actually see a woman as the weaker sex and see it as an acceptable act by society. Otherwise, 99% of all rapes will never be reported in our country.
Strong words, but of course we want to hear from all of you at home, so join the conversation with the hashtag AJStream.
Now, Twitter is just one of the ways that you can keep in touch with us, but if you prefer taking pictures rather than tweeting, then Instagram is the way to go. Check out some of the photographs that our community has been sharing. The gang rape of a young photojournalist in Mumbai last week sent Indians to the streets again in protest. It was all painfully similar to the gang rape in New Delhi last December, where the victim died from her injuries. Outrage rippled across India then as well. In fact, it was described as a pivotal moment for the history of women's rights. But the phenomenon of rape does not appear to be diminishing. Mumbai itself has had a drastic increase in the number of rape cases over the last 10 years, up around about 80%. According to one study, a rape is reported in India every 20 minutes. Activists say that most sex crimes in India go unreported, and official data shows that almost all go unpunished. So today, we're going to look at this problem in a unique way, through the eyes of Indian men. What's behind the country's rape epidemic, and what are some solutions for putting an end to it? Joining us to help us with this discussion, we have on Skype from Dhaka, Bangladesh, actor and activist Rahul Bose. In our Google Plus Hangout, Harish Sardani. He is the co-founder of Men Against Violence and Abuse, or MEVA. Radhi Kant is a lawyer and co-founder of Shakti Vahini. That's an organisation working on violence against women and children in India. And Harish Shetty is a social psychiatrist based in Mumbai. And because we have 2 Harishis in the house, we're going to call him Dr. Shetty. Gentlemen, it's great to have all of you here in the conversation. Let me start with Rahul. Rahul, this is going to be a unique perspective because we're looking at the crisis in India regarding rape from a man's point of view. What do you see men doing as you go about? Do you notice eve teasing? Is it something that's even in a man's consciousness? And eve teasing is basically harassing of women. It's a specific term that is used in India.
Well, to start with, Femi, there's a big movement to take eve teasing out of the lexicon of the public. That's already out legally. But having said that, I think it's very surreptitious. It is invariably furtive and clever, but in my experience, I have seen women being verbally sexually accosted. When a cyclist will stop next to my sister and he will say something which is blatantly sexual and offensive and violent, or for that matter, a friend on a bus who alerts me to the fact that she's being groped only after the event, because you never can see these things happen.
So,
or, for example, we have a festival in India called Holi, the Festival of Color. And in one particular instance, I saw a group of men for about 30, 40 seconds, just blatantly molesting a woman on the pretext of putting color on her. Nothing to do with the festival, more to do with men taking advantage of women at a time like that.
So this is kind of typical behaviour, and what we wanted to do during this programme was really look and investigate what you have as a solution as our group of guests and influential Indian men. Let's start with Dr. Shetty. If we start at home with the family, what would you do with the Indian family to help them actually nurture boys who wouldn't do that to women?
The first thing is that we tell our families in our workshops and in our meetings that start respecting your mother first as much as your father. Your mother is not somebody who provides you food, but has equal status as much as your father. And when you see your mother equal to your father, when you see your father respecting your mother as much as the mother respects the father, I think that's the first step by which we change the software or change the mindset inside the family. Also, when boys are given more freedom than the girls inside a family, it is viewed as girls are unsafe outside and boys are very safe outside. We also try to change this mindset that the girls and the boys should have equal rights inside the family with respect to schooling. In India, so many boys go to English schools, but so many girls are sent to vernacular, local language medium schools.
Okay.
So many boys eat the best food inside the family, where the girls are given much less food. The mothers and the daughters eat less food inside the family. We need to try. We try and reverse this trend.
But
and number
Dr.
three is
Sure.
we try and help the family discuss sexuality in the open, slowly and steadily, and also get the term respect elders blindly. No, respect the behavior of elders blindly, and do not respect elders blindly.
This is an impressive list, Dr. Shetty. How do you get parents to even begin to do this with their kids, with their boys? Dr. Shetty, can you hear me? While we
Yeah.
So it's an impressive list. It makes sense. How do you get parents to bring up their boys like this, though?
I think what is so important is creating awareness among the boys. When the boys start respecting their own femininity, they also respect the masculinity and the femininity in the woman. Accepting that the macho image of the boy is false. Every man or every young boy has a masculine image inside and a feminine, soft image also as part of himself. When he recognizes this two polarities inside himself, he's able to respect the women much better.
All right, we need to respect our community. Malika Bilal, what are they saying?
Femi. Well, the thing I love about our community is you asked a question, they have solutions. Hani Taha tweets in, fathers need to treat mothers with respect for young boys to understand the concept that a woman is not a subhuman species. On Facebook, Julie says, this is a learned behavior that starts young. No more boys will be boys excuses in all cultures, not just in India. And Harish Sadani, I want to direct this next one to you. We got a Google Plus comment from TJW who says, what needs to happen is to casually drop it into conversation with other men about how you disapprove of rape and misogynistic attitudes towards women. So just in case one of your friends might become one, a rapist in this case, he says, make it clear that it's just not okay. Are those conversations happening among the men of India?
Well, actually, the organization which I have been a founder member, Men Against Violence and Abuse, as for the last 2 decades, that is 20 years ago, we started a process in which men who are sensitive and concerned, they can come together, they address issues collectively as well as individually, and they're using different media to reach out to other men. And in this connection, I must say that for the last 6 years ago, I started a process which began in one district of my state, where I worked intensely, passionately with a group of 33 boys who are in the age group of 18 to 20. And with them, I started a process of self-introspection and cultural transformation. A process where they relook at gender stereotypes, where they talk about their own upbringing, and when they are questioning the dominant model of masculinity. While questioning that, they are also evolving positive models of masculinity, which are gender equitable. And for that, I must tell you that I tried to use variety of media, youth-friendly media, which will include like group discussion, games, street plays, street theatre, is a very powerful tool which I have utilized. All newspapers,
So-
wherein they are
so Harish,
generating a
are these
debate
young
and
men who-
generation among their peers.
So Harish, are these young men who you feel are going to be the young men who are out on the street harassing women, young men who may actually take part in gang rapes? Are you working with that group of men?
Sorry, I didn't get.
Yes, the young men that you're actually working with, the young men that you're doing workshops with, are these the young men that we're reading about who are harassing women, abusing women, maybe even assaulting women?
Yeah, in fact, when they listen and when they come to know about incidents around, they are, conducting silent protests. They are conducting signature campaigns. They are talking to their peers in the classroom about incidents happening around. So I find that, even if I work with a sizable number of boys, the multiplier effect is that they are reaching out to other peers and other young men.
Okay.
And that's how, it's a gradual process.
All right, let me bring Raul back into the conversation. Raul, I knew you wanted to jump in and add some more. Go ahead.
I have 4 points I'd like to make, which I've written about earlier, and I repeat these 4 points in colleges and schools across the country. And they're this: it's too late now to teach our boys. It's too late to tell them how to treat women. We're going to have to show them. If a boy sees his father walking 3 steps ahead of his mother as they enter a train station to catch a train, you can be sure that when he marries, he will behave the same way. Who takes the crucial decisions in the family? If I want to ask my parents, should I do what kind of liberal arts education or science education should I have? Which college should I go to? Do I talk to my father, or do I talk to my father and my mother? When I have an annual dramatics competition, is my father sitting in the front row to watch me, or is my mother sitting there while he ostensibly goes off and earns the money? I think these are things that, by osmosis of just experience, boys will learn to see. If they see this happening around them, they will learn. So my point is this: the first generational impact is not to the younger generation, but to the older generation. If they learn and if they can understand how they should be behaving in the home, the kids will. The second.
So Raul,
Look, the whole idea of being
I want to just
yeah.
interrupt your list here, because what I really want to hear is, it's a great list, but tell me, how do you do that?
Well, precisely the way that Ravi and Harish were speaking, you get into homes and you start inquiring what kind of gender biases, what kind of attitudes are prevalent in the mom.
Okay, I'm going to take a little
Hers and
break
the
from
fathers.
Raul, because Raul's audio is just coming in and out. Raul, do excuse us. We're going to try and fix that audio for you, or even just get you on the telephone, because what you're saying is so critical. But I'm actually just going to take a little bit of a break here. I want to show you a film clip from a movie called Shootout at Wadala. It was a big hit this summer, and I want to show it to you because some people are pointing to Bollywood movies as really influencing young men in India and their attitudes. We join the heroine and the hero in a situation where she is rejecting his advances. See what happens next.
बिस्तर गरम करने वालियां नहीं चाहिए मुझे सिर्फ तू चाहिए
मैं क्यों
क्योंकि जो मनोहर मर गया वो तुझसे प्यार करता था और ये मनिया जब तक मरेगा सिर्फ तुझसे प्यार करेगा
Okay, I'm going to stop it there, everybody. So we go from an assault to a romantic kiss. Ravi, I don't even know if you've seen Shootout at Wadala. I don't think you probably need to, but it's a classic Bollywood scene here. How influential is the media in shaping young men's behavior in India, and particularly Bollywood movies?
Yeah, see, media has been raising all these issues, and movies are, lot of things are made out and a lot of things are fiction. But the problem is that people in India, especially men, and they don't have the fear of the law. They know that they can get out of it. They know that the justice system is weak. They know that it takes a lot of time. They know that they can take the weaker sex for for a ride. They know that even if they abuse, they will never be caught. So the fear of the law is not there, and that is why media has been raising all these issues. There has been a lot of issues on the social media, but the fear of the law and the implementation of the law is a major thing, major issue. Our law enforcement is just not, they don't have the core competency to deal with these issues. The women just can't go to the police station because it's all men police stations. It is so difficult for for a woman to go into police station and to know that the officer there sitting on the opposite side will understand the sensibilities of the issue. So these are very important things which we need to change. Of course, changing the patriarchal mindset, changing the mindset of men, teaching them how to treat women, these are important things. But of course, the law also has to, come out and deliver.
Well, I'd like to ask our community, for those of you watching our live conversation, what role does the law have to play in this? Tweet us your suggestions with AJ Stream. But I want to go back to something that people are tweeting us about, which is the Bollywood clip you just played.
Sure.
Neha on Twitter says, female characters in mainstream Bollywood films need to be portrayed as strong and individual, not as submissive and unimportant. So Rahul, we also have a tweet. She follows up, Neha says, Bollywood needs to start serving as a social educational tool, producing stronger female leads in order to influence Indian society. Do you see that happening as a Bollywood actor?
Okay, first up, I'm never going to win this argument, but I'm going to make the best case I can. Can you hear me?
Yes,
please do.
Beautifully.
Okay. First, films have never taught any man to throw acid on a woman's face. Television does not teach men to shove cattle prods up women's vaginas. And third, advertising has never subliminally even ever supported gang rape. That's one side of it. However, I totally submit and admit that there are misogynistic attitudes in advertising commercials where the woman has to look after the man, and therefore she has a cooking oil that is good for his heart, forget about her heart, although nobody realizes that if she doesn't live, there is no family. Second, I understand and I've seen the whole use of misogynistic attitudes in cinema when an item number is put in just because it's time to show a half-naked woman, so people will be interested. It's an insult to men's intelligence. I get that. So I think the truth lies in between. But if anyone's going to tell me that the incident of rapes or gang rapes or any kind of violence against women is exacerbated because of what's shown in media, that's a very dangerous road to go down on. And there has not been ever any conclusive research one way or the other. Not for a second am I defending any kind of misogynistic attitude in any of the three media. I'm just saying we should be careful not to throw the baby with the bathwater.
See, Raoul, I had this exact conversation in our editorial. Do you remember, Malika? We were talking about this, and I said, it's not Bollywood's fault. You go to the movies, it's a movie, you go home. This is what our team told me. They said that in India, where you've got young men who don't always get to go to school, where they see movies as being completely influential, and they're not as literate maybe, and not able to separate what's fantasy and what's real life, that they are incredibly influenced by Bollywood movies. That was the pushback that I got when I actually basically echoed what you said.
Hold up a second. Now hold up a second. May I speak?
Absolutely, it's all about you.
Yeah. What does education mean? Do you think a farmer who has never studied, who doesn't know how to sign his name, is not educated about agriculture, about the weather, about crop patterns, about seeds? I think that we should be very, very careful not to mix what everybody calls education versus what the kind of education that Ravi and Harish have been speaking about. There is always space for that, but that doesn't mean somebody has to learn how to read and write. I'm not for a second saying that.
Okay, Raoul, I'm going to just skip over to Harish for a minute because your audio is coming,
some kind of influence.
Dipping in and out, and we're only hearing you intermittently, so I apologize about that. But Harish, I know you wanted to jump in. Go ahead. Harish Sadani.
Yeah, I wanted to say that Bollywood in direct and indirect form normalizes certain behavior. Example, eavesdropping, which has been as a, not a very serious form of thing. The real word should have been sexual harassment. But you find that in various ways the hero is there, he is pleading the girl, and so you find that in various ways the dialogue, the songs of certain films, in fact most of the films clearly tell and depict women as a sex object or a subordinate human being. There are umpteen examples, and the interesting thing is that many of the young boys and girls also, sing those songs. When the lines are very clearly, example, a song like "Cheese Badi Hai Mast Mast." Now people know what the meaning of the cheese means, a thing, and a woman is called as a thing, and the song is hummed by boys and girls. There are songs like Bazigar, which says that "Tu haan kar ya na kar, tu hai meri kiran." Whether you like it or not, you are mine. So this idea about obsessive, possessive husband, the dominating man, is in various ways reinforced and influencing a lot of young minds.
Okay, so I wanted this conversation to be a little different from the conversation you often hear about rape culture in India, and that was all of our guests. Their challenge was to bring us solutions. So remember that, guests, as we're hurtling towards the end of this program. Malika.
Well, and looking forward to solutions. Some of our community members say that education is key. On Twitter, Ritzwickbib says, rapists study in government schools till teenage and they're uneducated. The quality of primary education in India is shockingly low. Ravi, there's also a video comment here on that same topic. Have a listen to this.
Hello viewers, my name is Philip Ganja from Streets of Africa, a charity project. I strongly agree that rape should be included in education system in India, that the young boys have to be taught how to respect a woman, that a woman is the mother of the nation, and the women are our mothers and they're our sisters. And also don't forget, they say that charity begins at home. That means that parents have a role to play here, that they should educate the young boys the values of a woman. Thank you very much.
So Ravi, what is the state of the educational system in India, and is this being taught?
See, of course, the state of education system brings out all these things. It is a fact, because the segregation happens right from the childhood. Girls go to a different school, boys go to a different school, and then and the difference start coming out, and it continues the whole life, that they are a different species, they are different species, that continues. And whenever there is closeness, it comes out in such ways. And of course, the education system needs to be overhauled. There is a lot of things being done, but again, we need to, there are so many. These are basic things which we need to change.
Okay.
Certainly, yes.
Ravi, that's a great point for us to pause on right now. I know all of our guests have got more solutions, so I really want to encourage all of our audience to go to stream.aljazeera.com, unless you're there already, so that you can join us in the post show. As we head there, I want to leave you with a comment from Navi Pillay. She is the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, and she says, let us hope that 2013 will be the year the tide is turned on violence against women in India and all women can walk free without fear. India has shown through its social reform movements of the past that it can rid itself of the scourge like rape. So, to be continued as a conversation and also as an issue in India as well. Meanwhile, on the next show, everybody is talking about the potential strikes against Syria, but what would that actually accomplish? We'll discuss if military force will actually help or hinder the situation. You can also be part of that conversation by going to stream.aljazeera.com, and that's where our Syria story is, and there you can also vote on what we should do about military action, or if there should be anything about military action in Syria. Click here, vote, and your vote can be part of the program tomorrow. But right now, the post show is next at stream.aljazeera.com. Until then, we'll see you online. Thanks for watching. Hello there, this is the online post show. Today we're speaking to Indian men about what role they can play in ending violence against women in their country. So let's get right back to that conversation. Something that really amazed me was that when I was looking at the social media out there, a lot of media campaigns with young men and citizens in India talking about how they can make life better for the women in their world. This was one, real solutions like raising men to respect women. Another one was I'm stopping corruption, join me. These all happened after that notorious rape in December in New Delhi. Let me just head back to Harish Sadani and just ask you, Harish, are you impressed by what's happening on the street in terms of men making a difference? Okay. Rahul, Rahul, join us in the conversation. Are you impressed by what men are actually doing in India? Are they doing enough? Rahul, are you with us? Do we have you? Yes, Rahul, come back to us. Excellent. So, we wanted to bring you back into the conversation. We had trouble with your audio, so apologies about that. But I know you had a very distinct plan and solutions. So, share them with us.
I only had time to make one of those points in the television chat. Let me just finish that right now, so I can so I can exit the conversation. Here we go. So the first one I said was that it's not enough to tell our boys what to do. They have to see it happening with their parents. The second is there is an entrenched fascination to be macho, machismo, and I think then if that is the case, then we should spend time quietly and cleverly redefining what it means to be macho and what what does machismo mean. We can start by teaching our boys that it's
Okay, this is a very challenging program.
Not to play with guns. That only cruel people play with guns. And that it's absolutely fine to cry because Rafael Nadal cries, Sorry?
Go ahead, Rahul. We just have little gaps where we're losing you, but keep going and we will treasure the moments that we physically actually hear you.
No, if you don't get something, you can tell me because I'm not about to...
Sure, it's just the technology between you and here, it's coming a long way. Do continue. You're talking about men crying, which is really important. Okay, Malika, let me just go back to the community and talk about, Rahul, would you just hold tight for a moment? And Malika, go back to the community. What's the kind of comments that we're getting from our community?
Well, we actually just got this video comment not too long ago. I'm going to play this for our audience at home to have a listen.
Rape is a very small part of the problem India faces today. There's a principal flaw in our approach to societal issues. Girls are told how not to dress and where not to go. That's the wrong end of the problem we're trying to address. The police are ineffective, the courts are slow, the bureaucracy is corrupt, and the men are out of control. It's a sorry state of affairs, but India trails most countries in women's rights and female empowerment.
Malika, is this a typical comments that we're getting from our online audience?
He mentioned several things, and it is typical of what I'm hearing. He said girls are told how not to dress, where not to go. What he didn't say was what are the boys told, which of course we were hearing from our men on the panel today.
Really interesting. Rahul, you were talking about what we should be telling Indian young men and Indian boys. Can you just pick up?
Yes, I think that the second thing we can do is to redefine what it means to be macho. So we tell our boys that it's not macho to play with guns, it's cruel. We tell our boys it's absolutely fine to cry. Rafael Nadal cries, Cristiano Ronaldo cries, sometimes too much, but it's still fine to cry. We tell our boys that in fact it is manly and macho to actually hold hands and be friends and respect women. That's the second point. The third point is reaching out. If the entire fight for gender justice cannot happen without the involvement of men, then I think the first constituency of men that are ready to get involved in this fight are the men who I call secondary victims of violence against women. Behind every molested, raped, burnt, assaulted woman is a confused husband, is an angry son, is sometimes even an ashamed father. And it is these men who need counseling, who you reach out to, and I can bet that out of them we have a healthy chance of creating people who will fight and say nobody else's mother, nobody else's daughter, and nobody else's sister. This is the first constituency of men that we have to reach out to. And my final and fourth point is institutions today retreat behind the plea that there's misogyny all around us. That's why our institutions are misogynistic. That will not hold. Institutions are exactly that. They can be watertight in the kind of culture they propagate within them, whether it's the judiciary, whether it's the police, how sensitive they are to women, how a case is taken down, how a woman is looked after in the courtroom. I think institutions cannot anymore take refuge in the fact that there's misogyny everywhere, and they have it there. They have to change, and they have to clean their stables individually and now.
See, I'm listening to this, I'm inspired. Malika, are you inspired by that?
I'm inspired. I think our community is also inspired. Chapter of Seasons just tweeted in after watching a 40-minute program, and she says some of the solutions might sound difficult, but not impossible. Let's just hope that there are some men who want to play that role, and I think today we saw that there's at least 4 of them.
Absolutely. But Ro, I have the but. There's always a but in a journalist's head. Your solutions sound amazing. Your 4-point plan sounds amazing. Is it realistic to do that in today's India? Just on Tuesday night, a little 6-year-old girl was gang raped in a temple, reportedly in New Delhi. This is a tough society for you to bring that 4-point plan and introduce it. How are you going to do it?
Oh, I've already started a plan with an NGO called Akshara, where we are going to reach out to men who I have referred to as secondary victims of violence against women. As far as institutions and cleaning up their stables and cleaning out misogyny from amongst institutions, that's a governmental, it's a political, it's what political will can impose. You can absolutely make that happen within that institution, and you can hope that those attitudes permeate outwards. As far as teaching our boys, if they have to be macho, to redefine the concept of what it means to be macho, that is difficult. That requires a concerted effort in the community. But listen, it's going to take 20 to 25 years. I just wrote an article about this in the Hindustan Times 3 days ago. And I said, the only way you can actually stop something like the gang rape that happened in Bombay, where the girl went out at 6:30 in the evening. You don't want our women to stop going out at 6:30. Where the girl went out with a colleague. It happened to be a male, but she was accompanied. Where she went to a secluded spot where there were no police, so you can't blame the police for not being in the insides of a male area. And finally, where you can't blame the public for being apathetic because there was no public around.
Right.
So in a situation like this, who do you point a finger at? The only people you can say that this should not have happened is if those 5 men had actually been raised differently. That's only going to happen when you attack the problem at its base. If anybody feels in any kind of knee-jerk reactions are going to actually stop 5 men in a position, in a situation like this, to stop raping a woman, that's going to be very, very difficult to do. And I also want to clarify, every time I get onto a public forum and I have to speak about Bollywood and television advertising, it seems like I'm defending them. Of course I'm not. It is misogynistic, but all I wanted to say was we have to be very careful as people who are basically liberal-minded, who believe in the tenets of democracy. We have to be very careful not to throw the baby out with the bathwater. We cannot inculcate laws that are draconian tomorrow, and then suddenly you say, oh my God, individual creative freedom is muzzled.
It was good to be able to hear you. Not all of the time, intermittently. Thank you for bearing with our audio issues. It was worth waiting to hear your conversation. Thank you very much to Rahul. Thank you to all of our guests, so Rahul Bose, Harish Sadani, Ravi Kant, Dr. Harish Shetty. Thank you to all of them. The community, Malika.
Thank you, Femi.
How did they react to that show?
As expected. Lots of tweets, and they're still coming in reacting to what Rahul just said.
Okay, the conversation will continue.
As it always does. Online.
Yes, stream.aljazeera.com. Now, Thursday's program. Everybody is talking about the potential strikes against Syria, but what would that actually accomplish? We'll discuss if military force will help or hinder, and one of the things you can actually do to take part in the program is go to stream.aljazeera.com. So we're here. Syria in the crosshairs is the story. You can vote on what you think military action in Syria might do. You have better, worse, no difference. You vote, it's a Twitter vote. and your vote will count, and we will be counting your vote on the programme tomorrow. And that is all we have time for right now. Of course, we'll always be online at stream.aljazeera.com. I'm Femi OK. She's Malika Bilal. Thanks for watching.